Can't make the catch as that one is over the fence in center field. And the Whitecaps tack on a couple more here as the Mariners scored 3 in the top of the 4th, but the Whitecaps come right back, and a 2-run homer off the bat of Jesse Franklin now makes it a 10-3 ball game.
It's unfortunate for the Harwich Mariners. They looked like they were fighting back, getting themselves into this game once again, putting up a 3 spot in the top of the 4th inning. Again, there's still plenty of time for the Mariners bats to make up 7 runs, but it's going to be tougher. And you know, it's a couple of things, one thing after the next, and you know, you hate to blame it on something else, but again, if he's out over there at first base, the home run doesn't come around to score, and you know, it's just a bit of a different game.
First pitch, Ike Freeman misses off the outside corner for ball 1. 1-0 from Pearson is cut on and missed for strike 1. The count is 1 ball and 1 strike. And that's the reason why Jesse Franklin was awarded one of the offensive team awards for the Brewster Whitecaps, being this their last home game of the season. There are all those special team awards. We'll have that ceremony tomorrow in Harwich as the 1-1 off-speed pitch out in front is Freeman for strike 2. 1-2 is the count.
There are a lot of people who could win the team MVP for the Harwich Mariners. We'll have to see.
1-2 from the windup from Pearson. Fastball runs low and outside for ball 2.
You'd have to think it would be somebody who was in the All-Star game, or at least I think so. Only other person I would think of, maybe DeVito, could have a shot, but
2-2 to Freeman has popped up high in the air towards the right center field. The center fielder Norman going back to the track to make the grab for the 3rd out. But the 2-run homer off the bat of Jesse Franklin extends the Whitecaps lead to now to 10-3 after the 4th inning. Listen to Mariners Baseball on the Harwich Mariners Radio Network. Top of the 5th from Stony Brook Field as the Whitecaps lead the Harwich Mariners by a score of 10-3. And so it'll be Casals, Lipsius, and Eichhoff who tries to dig into this deficit and the hole that they're currently in. So Casals, who is 1 for 2 in this ball game, singled back in the 1st, popped out in the 3rd inning to the 2nd baseman. Chris Wright for the Whitecaps back on the hill. First pitch to the right-hander Casals runs up and away for ball 1.
And after the 2-run run hit by Jesse Franklin, you mentioned the Mariners have some work to do. They're going to have to put some base hits together and find a way to put home a few runs. And they have 5 innings to work with, but still, it's better that they get some runs sooner rather than later.
1-0 pitch is cut on and missed from Casals. Count is now 1 ball and 1 strike. The wind continues to blow out towards straightaway center field, so we might see some balls just carry a little bit extra there. Maybe off the bat of Franklin as the 1-1 pitch off speed. Fools Casals out in front. Count is 1-2.
You mentioned Casals 1 for 2 on the evening. He singled back in the 1st inning. Was one of the Mariners' 2 hits in that inning, and the Mariners had 3 additional hits back in the top of the 4th.
1-2 pitch from right is high up in the zone as it hits off the catcher's mitt of Donovan and will back into the screen. The count is 2-2. Casals, who was 3 for 9 entering today's game. Market is now 4 for 11 in his last 11 at bats. 2-2 to Casals, runs off the plate. Count is now at 3 balls and 2 strikes. So nobody on with nobody out. 10-3, Whitecaps lead over the Harwich Mariners. Chris White comes set from the stretch. The 3-2 to Casals is popped up and out of play behind our table on the first base line. The 3-2 payoff pitch is popped up high in the air over towards the left field area, but it'll find the seats down there over towards the batting cages. Of course, Stony Brook Field, a little bit more tight on space around here. It's next to Stony Brook Elementary School. As a 3-2 to Casals. Outside corner at the letters for strike 3. Casals not a fan of the call.
Oh my, that pitch wasn't very close, to be quite honest. As the home plate umpire John Patala calls him out, it was probably at least 4 or 5 inches out of the strike zone, but he's rung up nonetheless. And I'm not somebody to go and call out the umpires generally, but there have been a few calls that have been off tonight.
So now with 1 down in the inning, it is Andre Lipsius who'll try to get the inning started for the Mariners. First pitch he sees is on the inside corner for strike 1. There are a couple calls even back and on the off day when he took a trip down to Hyannis and Orleans game. There are a couple calls down there as the 0-1 pitch is spiked into the dirt before home plate for ball 1. 1 ball and 1 strike is the count.
I didn't think that pitch was particularly close, did you?
I thought it might have missed just off the plate. As the 1-1 pitch to Lipsius is fouled back into the backstop for strike 2. 1 ball and 2 strikes, the count on the DH out of Tennessee. Normally see Lipsius over at first base or shortstop. More over at first base, but getting the start in the DH spot this evening as the 1-2 curveball is lined over the head of the third baseman Cameron Eden. He can't just couldn't quite get it up as Lipsius will take a hard turn over first base. Will hold right there as he picks up his second base sit and 3 plate appearances this evening. So now with 1 down at the top of the 5th, Lipsius over at first base, 10-3, Whitecaps lead. And as Nate Eichhoff will try to keep this inning going. Lefty-lefty matchup, right? Comes in from the stretch. First pitch to Eichhoff. Outside corner for strike 1. Right so far, 3 1/3 innings, 4 hits, 3 of them runs, 3 earned, all off the home run of Garza. 1 walk and 5 punch-outs. 0-1 pitch is swung on and missed by Eichhoff for strike 2. He's in the hole quickly and no balls and 2 strikes. Well, you talk about it, right? Has that strikeout stuff, especially with that fastball. 0-2. Foul back into the screen. Behind home plate, count remains no balls and 2 strikes.
But he has allowed the 3 runs this evening on the 3-run home run off the bat of Ramon Garza.
Those are the first runs that Wright has allowed on the Cape this year in 7 2/3. Remember, he's a two-way player out of Bryant. As the 0-2 pitches hit hard on the ground towards second base. The turn from Freeman over to Workman back on to first base is in time to retire Nate Eichhoff. A 4-6-3 double play. Freeman to Workman back to Franklin. And that's how the top of the 5th inning will end here at Stony Brook Field. Mariners trail 10-3 after 4 1/2. Listen to Mariners baseball on the Harwich Mariners Radio Network. Back inside Stony Brook Field for the home half of the fifth inning. It's been all Whitecaps so far. The lead 10-3 over the Harwich Mariners. New pitcher on the mound is Matt Cronin out of UMass Dartmouth. As Pearson's evening is done, back at school at UMass Dartmouth, Cronin made 10 starts, 11 appearances, 6-1 with a .99 ERA this year. Career ERA of 1.82 at UMass Dartmouth, though he's found his way onto Cape Cod to face some of the best as the first pitch to Gage Workman tries to bunt behind Casal's back, but it will kick foul towards the Whitecaps bench.
And let's just go over that start from, or that appearance from Garrett Pearson. I thought he was very, very good. He ends up being charged with 2 earned runs over 3 1/3 innings of work, but only 3 hits, 1 walk. He struck out a batter, and you know, until that 2-run home run was hit from Jesse Franklin, it was an outstanding appearance, and it was still a good appearance from Garrett Pearson.
One pitch misses high for ball 1. 1 ball and 1 strike is the count on the shortstop out of Arizona State, Gage Workman. 1-1 pitch is popped up high in the air towards shallow left center field, and it'll drop in for a base hit as it just found a hole out there in the outfield as Garza, the shortstop, Norman, the center field, and Stanton, the left field, are all converging on that 1 point, and it just dropped in for a base hit. That's hit number 12 now for the Brewster Whitecaps as they have the leadoff man on here in the bottom of the 6th inning.
Yeah, sort of that Bermuda Triangle play out in left center field with the shortstop Garza ranging out, and then you have Stanton and Norman, the left fielder and center fielder, coming in, and all 3 of them converge, but none of them are able to make the catch.
So it's now the number 8 hitter Cameron Eden, the third baseman this evening. First pitch he sees, he fouls it back into the backstop for strike 1. Eden so far, he has an RBI single and a pop out. Of course, Eden was an all-star for the Brewster Whitecaps. All-star game held at White House Field this year. The West Division defeated the Eastern Division as the 0-1 pitch off speed took something off was Cronin. Got on and missed by Eden. Counted quickly, no balls and 2 strikes. Eden went 1 for 3 in that All-Star game. And against the Harwich Mariners this year is 6 for 13. 0-2 from Cronin. Curveball popped up in the air towards the first base area. Going towards the Mariners dugout as the first baseman, Eichhoff, who makes the catch just shy of the dugout.
Yeah, I think he may have actually been all the way leading over the railing and everything trying to make that catch. Nicely done by Eichhoff. Our view is somewhat obscured down the first base line as the chain link fence extends all the way over towards the dugout. And as a result, it's a little bit tough for us to see through the chain link fence as it continues to move down towards the dugout. So our view is slightly obstructed, but from what I could see, it looked like he was leaning over the dugout and everything before he made the catch.
So 1 down in the inning. Still at first base is Gage Workman. First pitch to Joe Donovan misses the outside black for ball 1. Donovan's been a hard man to get out so far this evening. He's 2 for 2 with 2 singles. Singled back in the first and in the 3rd inning. The 1-0 pitch is lifted out of play behind the home plate area. Count is now 1 ball and 1 strike. Donovan out of Michigan. 1-1 pitch as he swung through that one for a strike 2. More of like an excuse me swing. Didn't mean to really swing, but that one across the plane. Count is now 1-2. So Workman stands off at first with 1 down in the inning. 10-3 Whitecaps lead here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Donovan steps out for a second. Will step back into the backside of the right-hander's batter's box. Righty-righty matchup. The 1-2 pitch. Curveball is rolled over towards the third baseman, Casals. Casals back on a second to Dempsey over towards first base. Is in time. They go around the diamond, a 5-4-3 double play. Casals, Dempsey, Eichhoff. As that will end the bottom of the 5th inning. Whitecaps still lead 10-3. Listen to Mariners baseball on the Harwich Mariners Radio Network. Top of the sixth inning, 10-3 Whitecaps lead over the Harwich Mariners. New pitcher on the mound out of Seattle University is Braden Wire. Sophomore out of Erie, Colorado, making his third appearance on the Cape. Has pitched 3 innings so far. Yielded 3 hits, 3 runs, all of them unearned. 3 punched outs to go along with that. As leading things off is the catcher, Logan Driscoll. He came in for Brad Debo, who appeared to have injured himself running down the first base line the last time he was up. Righty-lefty matchup. The first pitch is on the inside half the plate for strike one.
Well, all players before the game will take batting practice, whether you're in the starting lineup or not. The first 2 groups are the first half and second half of the batting order, and then the third group is the group that's not playing in the game but still takes batting practice. They'll usually take 1 less round, and it's 1 fewer round instead of going 3 rounds. Sometimes they'll go 2. But generally, everybody's going to take batting practice, and they're all going to, make sure that if they have to hit in the game, they will.
One pitch misses inside, count as 1-1 as the 1-1 pitch is a high chopper off the post towards the Mariners dugout. Count as quickly 1 ball and 2 strikes. That's why BP is very important every single day here on Cape Cod. It can help you along your route towards that, using that wooden bat, and find success on the Cape as the 1-2 from Wire, a big bender curveball. Misses outside for ball 2, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And before the season, in the early June, whether the players get here right around June 8th, June 9th for the June 12th start of the season, and they'll go through a few practices before the first games.
As the 2-2 pitches line out towards right field, but right at the right fielder, Alejo, who comes running in to make the grab for the first out.
That's a really hard hit ball off the bat of Logan Driscoll as he lines it very hard out towards right field, but it's unfortunately right at Ray Alejo. If that ball is hit nearly at any other spot, it's going to be a base hit, and probably extra bases for that matter, but it was right at the right fielder, and therefore there's 1 away.
Now Gabe Rivera with 1 out here in the top of the 6th inning, 10-3 Whitecaps lead. First pitch runs low and outside for ball 1 on Rivera. And that's why batting practice can be very important. A guy like Driscoll who was struggling to start the year off, and then you find your swing toward the later half of the season. 1-0 pitch misses down below the knees for ball 2. Count heads to 2-0.
Yeah, you just have to hope that when the scouts are here is when you're hitting well, because that's ultimately the most important thing. The scouts see you when you're hitting the ball well.
2-0 pitch. Rivera's a hard chopper over towards the third baseman, Eden, who can't handle it. As Rivera's aboard for the first time this evening, we'll see goes as a hit or an error.
It took a bad hop, and I think over at third base, Eden is still playing it on what's basically a medium hop, where he doesn't quite have enough time to adjust if that ball goes off the lip. He does not quite have enough time to adjust and make the play if it takes a bad hop on him, and it did take a bad hop, and he was unable to make the play over at third base.
So now with 1 man aboard and 1 out here in the top of the 6th, it is Johnny Stanton, the left fielder. First pitch fastball is painted at the knees for strike 1. That will go down as an error off of Cameron Eden.
So just to elaborate on what I was saying, you either want to play the ball on a short hop or a long hop. Play it on a short hop, the ball goes right from where it bounces into your glove. If you play it on a long hop, you have enough time to adjust in case the ball takes a bad hop. You don't want to play it on that medium hop because then you don't have quite enough time to adjust, and you also don't have the ball going directly into your glove.
0-1 pitch at the knees again, count as 0-2. Wire comes set. The 0-2 delivery is off the edge of the barrel. Foul back into the screen, and that's why you see a lot of guys when they're playing a chopper, they'll either come charging in and field it because that second hop can eat you up, or you try to move back a couple steps and try to read that second hop. But on a high chopper like that, it's already bounced once. That second one's going to have a lot of topspin on, and that's why it went right past the mid of Eden.
I also think it may have hit that lip between the dirt and the grass, along with the topspin, and everything just sort of added up, and it took a bad hop over his mitt. I thought it may have ended up going down as a hit, but they end up giving it, putting an error down against the third baseman, Eden.
0-2 curveball just doesn't come down enough. 1-2 the count as Stanton reaches for the 1-2 pitch as it gets through the hole on the right side for a base hit. Mariners collecting a couple of base runners here as After Rivera reaching on an error, Stanton picks up another. It's his second hit of today's game. He's 2 for 2 with a walk.
And we've seen Eden have a number of problems out in the field this season. That is error number 16 from the third baseman. That leads the team. It's actually doubles the second most from Workman. And in the entire league, Eden also has the most there. Second is Greg Jones at 12, but after that it's Martinez who has 9. So a lot of these players or Eden just has many more errors than everybody else.
First pitch to Garza misses for ball 1. So far, Garza has all the runs so far. That 3-run long ball just squeezing in towards that foul pole in left field as the Mariners trail 10-3. 1-0 pitch to Garza is at the knees for strike 1. 1 ball and 1 strike is the count. 1 down, 2 men on. Runners on second, first and second. Rivera off a second, Stanton on first. Whitecaps also lead the hit column as well, 12-7, but that hit total has been coming along towards almost even as the 1-1 pitch spikes into the chest of Joe Donovan, the catcher, for ball 2, 2-1 the count. So Wire, who has come on for Chris Wright, and O'Brien, 2-pitch, 4 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned, 1 walk, and 5 punch-outs is his final line. It's a 2-1 pitch is cut on and missed as Wire took something off there. Count is 2-2 now. Mentioned Wire out of Seattle University. Of course, Russell Wilson trying to bring a baseball team up in there. They used to have the Seattle Supersonics. As the 2-2 pitch is lined down the third base line, it's a fair ball. Rivera rounds around third base, will come in to score. As Garza will have a stand-up RBI double at second base. As this deficit is now cut to 6 and is now a 10-4 ball game. And the Mariners have 2 more men on in scoring position with only 1 out.
Yeah, the Mariners have a real opportunity to get back in this game. If they can get another base hit and drive in a couple of runs, all of a sudden this is a 10-6 game, and it is definitely not out of reach. But the Mariners need to capitalize. This is going to show a lot about this Mariners team right here in the top of the 6th inning. We've been talking about it a lot. Can the Mariners drive in runs when they have runners in scoring position? Well, this is their opportunity. They have 1 out. They're down by 6 runs. If they put up 2 runs right here, they're right back in it.
First pitch to Brian Dempsey misses up and tight for ball 1 on Dempsey. Dempsey was 0 for 1 with a hit by pitch his last time out as a big RBI spot here as 2 ducks on the pond. Runners on second and third with only 1 down. 10-4 Whitecaps lead. 1-0 to Dempsey is a hard hit. Ground ball past the third baseman Eating. Coming to score is Stanton. Right around third is Garza. He's going to come around to score. As heading into second base, slotting in headed first is Brian Dempsey. 2 more coming around to score. It is now a 10-6 ball game. And the Mariners keep creeping back into this game. I mentioned the hit column was starting to come up, 12-9 as the hits, but now the score is 10-6. Mariners collecting a couple of runs here in this 6th inning.
And that was huge because it's a really, really big hit off the bat of Brian Dempsey. The bottom of the order is what is supplying a lot of the runs tonight, as they had the 3-run home run from Ramon Garza. He's the 8-hitter. He had an RBI double, and then the 9-hitter, Brian Dempsey, rips a 2 RBI double. So all 6 RBIs coming from the 8 and 9 hitters in the Mariners order, which is good because it shows the Mariners have a strong order 1 through 9.
First pitch to leadoff hitter Ben Norman. Curveball misses in the dirt for ball 1. So 1 out off of second base is Brian Dempsey. Wire has given up 3 runs in this inning so far. 1-0 to Norman. Pitch runs up and inside for ball 2. 2-0 is the count.
And we see again another opportunity for the Mariners to even chip back even closer. They're down by 4 runs right now, so the most important thing for the Mariners is not only to continue scoring, but they also have to get good pitching, because what we saw in the top of the 4th inning was the Mariners put up 3 runs, and Brewster responds with 2 of their own. Can the Harwich Mariners pitching staff hold these Brewster Whitecaps bat at base?
2-0 the count. Wire comes set. He kicks and fires. 2-0 pitch is fouled into the backstop for strike 1. 2 balls and 1 strike. The count now on Norman. Norman so far is 0 for 3. Don't write him off. These guys collected a couple base hits over the last few games. Yesterday was 1 for 4. As 2 balls and 1 strike is the count. Norman also went 1 for 4 back in YD. The 2-1 delivery curveball drops in at the knees for strike 2. 2 balls and 2 strikes is the count now on Norman. So Wire tries about a comeback here, being down the count 2-0, is now fired back-to-back strikes. The 2-2 offering, curveball to Norman is a line drive, gets through the infield, up the middle for a base hit. Dempsey comes around third, and McCummon to home plate standing up. And that's another RBI, this time off the bat of Ben Norman. It is now a 10-7 game as the Whitecaps still lead, but they're seeing their lead start to go away here. As Ben Norman collects his first base hit this evening, picks up his 11th RBI.
And Ben Norman extends his hitting streak now to 5 consecutive games, extends his streak of reaching base safely to 7 games now, and that's why he's atop the Mariners' order right now, with Tanner Morris and Aaron Schunk getting some rest. Ben Norman has been someone who's found himself at that leadoff spot. I asked him before the game tonight, do you like hitting in that leadoff spot? And he says, well, it's a bit of a responsibility, but you only lead off once. You don't lead off every single inning. You're only leading off to start the ball game. So, it's similar to if you're, just so happen to be the 5 hitter in the lineup and you're leading off the 5th inning. You're just that first guy up to the plate. He said it does provide a little bit more in terms of, it's a little bit tougher in that, you have to set up those 2, 3, and 4 hitters. So there's a little bit more pressure on you. But he said that he doesn't really mind it in the sense that it's not that much different than if you're hitting 6th or 7th.
First pitch is fouled off for strike 1 as the 0-1 pitch just doesn't quite catch the bottom part of the zone. Count is now 1 ball and 1 strike. So Norman leads off of first base after his RBI single. It is now only a 3-run lead for the Brewster Whitecaps, 10-7 game as the 1-1 pitch is cut on and missed from Casals. Count is a 1-2. As now our right-hander begins to toss. And the Whitecaps bullpen down there in left field. One continues to blow out towards straightaway center field as the 1-2 from Wire. Pinches line hard down the third base line. Foul. Count will stay at 1-2. So 4 runs already across here in this 6th inning. Is now a 10-7 game. It was Garza's 3-run blast that put the Mariners on the board in the 4th. And a collection of base hits off the bat of Garza, Dempsey, and Norman. 1-2 to Casals is popped up high in the air towards straightaway center field. Bishop going back. He'll camp under it just shy of the track for the second out of the inning. So Casals continues to drive some balls out to the outfield, even though it records in and out. He's been putting some good piece of wood on these balls over the last couple games.
He has. It's encouraging to see someone like Danny Casals, who, as you mentioned earlier, was ice cold at the plate just about a week ago, and all of a sudden he's starting to have his bat come alive at different ballparks, whether it be YD or even some other ballparks that have shallower center field fences. That's a home run, and it's another good piece of hitting from Danny Casals.
First pitch, Andre Lipsia sees. He drives it out towards center field. Going back to the track once more is Bishop, but he'll make a catch. Remember, it's only 375 out there in center field. Just doesn't quite get it enough, and that's how the 6th inning will end. But it's a productive inning for the Harwich Mariners offense. They get 4 across, and they only trail 10-7 after 5.5. It was to Mariners baseball on the Harwich Mariners Radio Network. Bottom of the sixth inning, 10-7 Whitecaps lead as Matt Cronin is back on the hill for the Mariners. But the Mariners able to claw back into this one. They scored 4 in the top of the sixth inning, and now makes it a little more interesting here from Stony Brook Field. I know as Orleans and Cham are warming up, I know probably maybe some scoreboard watching going on there. As a win here for Brewster would diminish Orleans' chances that they would have to win that game as the first pitch misses to the leadoff there, Dominic Canzone for ball 1.
So with Brewster up by 1 point, if Brewster wins and Orleans loses, Orleans would be eliminated.
1-0 pitch is lined hard on the ground as gets past the shortstop Garza. He went down to one knee to try to pick it. Perhaps just right over his mid into center field.
And it's not. That's you don't really. It's going to go down as an error on Garza, but ultimately Garza's night has still been outstanding. He still had the 3-run home run. He still had a 2 RBI double, and you're going to take that every single time. People talk about shortstop being the position that is most difficult to field, and then defense is the most important thing. Well, it can be one of the most important things, but if you're hitting the ball really well, I'm going to take a shortstop who isn't quite as good at fielding if over a guy who's an outstanding fielder who can't hit.
As bunting there at the first pitch is Alejo. He pops it out towards the on-deck circle for strike 1. So nobody out, man off on first base is Canzone. As Garza has driven in 5 of the 7 runs in this ball game for the Mariners. Talk about the 3-run blast in the 4th and then a 2 RBI double in the top half of this inning. Cronin comes set, the 0-1. Off-speed pitch just runs too far off the outside. A corner for ball 1. 1 ball and 1 strike to count on Alejo.
And I think that this game is especially crucial for Brewster and these final 3.5 innings because
1-1 pitch, curveball at the knees for strike 2 on Alejo.
If the Mariners find a way to come back and win this game, that would really hurt the confidence of Brewster. When you're up 8-0 in a game, if you can't hold on and you can't win that ball game, that's going to really hurt, and especially in a big-time playoff race like this.
1-2 pitch is hit high out towards right, left center field. Making the catch is Ben Norman, able to track that ball down as Canzone will have to retreat over towards first base. Another loud out here as the wind has continued to blow out towards straightaway center field. It's only 375 out there in center. Balls continue to bounce up towards the warning track. And left center field, and right center field. As with 1 down the inning now, it is the 3-hitter, the center fielder Hunter Bishop out of Arizona State. Cronin comes set as going towards second is Canzone. Throw down is in time, and Canzone is thrown out from the catcher Logan Driscoll. First pitch missed for ball 1, but it doesn't matter anyway. Canzone is caught stealing.
Yeah, I had a hard time seeing it over there at second base. The umpire was a little bit in my view. Cronin, I couldn't quite see exactly what happened there at second, but it was a nice job nonetheless by Garza to be able to come over and make the tag to tag out Canzone for the second out.
Just have to wonder, the sliding in was Canzone first, but the tag was in time as the 1-0 pitch is on the outside edge for strike 1. Count as 1 ball and 1 strike. It just might have been the way that Canzone slid into the bag towards that back end of the base or something. It looked like it was going to be safe for a while, but Driscoll will throw down in time as Canzone got a really good jump off at first. 1-1 pitch misses for ball 2, 2-1 the count.
Yeah, again, I just couldn't quite see exactly whether he was safe or out. There were a couple of bodies in the way blocking my view exactly. All I definitely could see was that Garza made a nice play in tagging him out.
2-1 pitches bounce back right to the pitcher Cronin. He'll just jog over towards first base and toss it off to the first baseman Eichhoff. And that's how the bottom of the 6th inning will end as Canzone's caught stealing and then a ground out back to Cronin. After 6, 10-7 Whitecaps lead. Listen to Mariners baseball on the Harwich Mariners Radio Network.
Top of the 7th inning from Brewster, Massachusetts. It is a 10-7 Brewster Whitecaps lead, but the Harwich Mariners look to cut into that lead and possibly tie things up in the top of the 7th inning. New pitcher on the mound for the Brewster Whitecaps is Connor Gramis. You've seen him out in the field this evening, but he comes into the game tonight as a pitcher as well. Well, he's actually the designated hitter in tonight's ball game, so he hasn't actually been out on the diamond, but he comes in to pitch this evening. He has a 7.10 ERA on Cape Cod in 6 1/3 innings of work. He has allowed 5 earned runs. In 6 1/3, 7 walks, 9 strikeouts, 7 walks, 7 hits. So the whip is over 2. He's allowed a lot of base runners so far, and we'll have to see how the Mariners are able to do against Gramis, possibly working a number of walks, or if they're able to get some base hits off of the right-handed pitcher. And things start off with Nate Eichhoff, the 4-hitter, will be followed by Logan Driscoll and Gabe Rivera. 10-7 Brewster. The first pitch runs inside and hits Eichhoff on the foot. And he's going to walk over towards first base. He fell to the ground initially in pain, but he quickly got up as he tosses his elbow guard and walks over towards first base. The trainer and coach, neither one is out there talking to Eichhoff, as I think it was just the initial pain, and it may have gone away as he stands on first base. Now it's the 6-hitter, Logan Driscoll. I beg your pardon, the 5-hitter, Logan Driscoll. As Eichhoff leads off first base with no outs. 10-7 Brewster, as the Mariners put up 3 runs in the 4th, 4 additional runs in the 6th to cut into the Whitecaps' lead, as the first pitch runs low and inside and gets by the catcher, Donovan, and there's now a runner on second base as Eichhoff advances 90 feet and finds himself in scoring position. The Mariners may have something cooking in the top of the 7th. Runner on second, no outs. 10-7 Brewster in the top of the 7th as Logan Driscoll digs in from the left side. The first pitch from Gramis swung on in a foul ball over towards the left side and into the seats as a young fan makes a nice catch with a glove. And the count 1 ball and 1 strike on Driscoll. Gramis gets the sign from Donovan. Eichhoff leads off second base. The 1-1 pitch swung on and missed as Driscoll swings right through it, and the count 1-2. Logan Driscoll, the catcher in tonight's ball game. He came in for Brad Devo after he came out of the game in what was likely an injury, as he screamed after he was safe at first base on a fielder's choice and went right into the dugout immediately, and then came out Logan Driscoll to pinch run for him, and he's been in the game ever since. The 1-2 delivery. Misses low below the knees. Check swing from Driscoll. They motion over towards third base. And the third base umpire, Rick Antonio, says he goes around. From my vantage point here, it looked like he'd held up, but he's called out, and there's one away in the top of the 7th.
From Miami, right fielder, Gabe Rivera.
A cloudy evening from Brewster, Massachusetts, as there is a breeze headed out towards center field. Temperatures start to fall as the first pitch misses below the knees on Gabe Rivera, the count 1-0. Eichhoff off second base, the 1-0 delivery. And it's going to get by the catcher once again, and advancing to third is Nate Eichhoff. So another run is 90 feet away for the Harwich Mariners with one out, and the Mariners will have the opportunity to score the run with an out. Another thing I'd like to draw your attention to regarding Nate Eichhoff over at third base is that he was hit by the pitch earlier in the inning, and you have to wonder, is that going to affect him if it's going to be a fly ball out towards left field, center field? He's going to try to score on a sac fly. Is that going to have any effect on his running? So with one out in the top of the seventh inning, runner on third base, as the Mariners look to chip closer towards the Brewster Whitecaps. 2-0 pitch on the outside corner to Gabe Rivera, in the count 2-1. We've seen Gabe Rivera's power on display a number of times during batting practice. He's yet to hit a home run on Cape Cod. 2-1 pitch is going to get away from the catcher, but Nate Eichhoff will stay right over at third base. That is the third pitch that has missed wildly from Gramis. That does not even include the hit by pitch. So it really has had 4 pitches that have missed wildly. And it's now 3-1 on Gabe Rivera. 2 of those pitches have allowed Nate Eichhoff to advance 90 feet. The first one got him over to second and now over towards third base with still one out. Gramis throwing 96 to 99 with the fastball. Clearly has a lot of heat on it. That's probably why it was so painful for Nate Eichhoff, as the 3-1 pitch, the fastball upstairs swung on and missed from Rivera, and the count 3-2. It shows the potential. That's what the scouts want to see, the high velocity more than anything else. Now the 3-2 pitch in the dirt and low, and Eichhoff's coming home. The throw to the plate is not in time. So Gabe Rivera walks, and coming in to score is Nate Eichhoff on yet another wild pitch from Connor Gramis. So the Mariners cut the Brewster Whitecaps lead to 10-8 in the top of the seventh.
That's what can happen. You can have all the velocity in the world, but it's a matter if you have the control, and so far this evening, Gramis has not had it, which has cost him now a run here. It's advancing a couple bases on the wild pitches as Eichhoff.
Yeah, advancing 3 bases, 270 feet as a result of wild pitches. As the first pitch to Stanton is swung on, and a ground ball gently down the third base line, throw over to first, and it's in time to get Stanton.
And Stanton's the guy that was coming in. He reached base his first 3 times out, and able to avoid a double play since it was such a, not a hard hit ground ball.
Shortstop, Ramon Garza.
And Ramon Garza, the right-handed hitting shortstop, digs in. He hit a 3-run home run earlier in this ball game. He also had an RBI double. There's a runner in scoring position as the Mariners would like to get that much closer. In the top of the seventh, the first pitch runs well outside and misses for ball 1.
Garza's done a lot of the heavy lifting today for this Mariners offense. Has another RBI opportunity here, which would really make things interesting. Cut the lead down to 1.
Rivera off second base, 2 outs. 10-8 Brewster. The 1-0 pitch is swung on, a high fly ball in towards shallow center field. Center fielder Bishop moves in and makes the catch for the final out of the inning, but not before the Mariners tack on yet another run and cut the Brewster lead to 10-8. You're listening to Mariners Baseball on the Harwich Mariners Radio Network. The wind picks up from Brewster, Massachusetts in the bottom of the 7th inning. It is a 10-8 Whitecaps lead. Austin Rooney alongside Thomas Inzarella. We're glad you decided to spend your Wednesday evening with us as the Harwich Mariners have mounted a comeback. We'll have to see if it will be enough, though, as they still trail 10-8, have a couple more innings at the plate as the first pitch from Cronin is swung on. A high fly ball to deep left. You can say goodbye. A solo home run off the bat of the designated hitter and pitcher, Connor Grammis, as he extends the Brewster lead to 11-8.
And that's big for the Brewster Whitecaps. They hadn't scored in a couple innings, and now they are back on the board here, and Connor Grammis just crushes that one to left field. You know, right off the bat that one was pretty much out of here.
Yeah, he stood there and watched it fly as he extends the Brewster lead to 3 runs.
And that's why with the wind blowing out towards, basically all out towards the ballpark, and we could see a couple more runs bladed across here, maybe a couple more long balls as well.
And the first pitch misses upstairs to Jesse Franklin. Count 1-0, base paths are empty. 1-0 delivery is swung on and fouled off behind home plate. The count 1-1. Despite the wind and the clouds overhead, my weather app is telling me there is no rain in the forecast. As Jesse Franklin steps back in from the left side. 11-8 Brewster is the score as the first pitch runs upstairs in the count 2 balls and 1 strike on Franklin. And well, I guess that will counteract the run that Grammis allowed on the mound with the home run. As a 2-1 pitch misses outside, count 3 balls and 1 strike on Jesse Franklin, the 5-hitter in the order.
Franklin already hit a home run early in the game back in the 4th inning. That's where the 2 other runs came from besides the 8-run first.
The 3-1 delivery swung on, a high pop-up. The third baseman Casals moves over and makes the catch for the first out of the inning.
That's a big out for Corona not to, keep the damage going on there after the leadoff home run from Grammis, able to record an out. Not really let things get away from him.
Base paths empty, 1 out. Bottom of the 7th inning. It's now 11-8 Brewster. As Ike Freeman digs in from the right side. The first pitch to Freeman. Off-speed pitch upstairs for ball 1.
The Mariners have their own Ike, and Nate Eichhoff is his nickname, and the Whitecaps have Ike Freeman.
Yeah, Mariners teammates will yell Eichhoff very frequently when he's at the plate. You can oftentimes hear the chants over the broadcast as the pitch is in there for a strike, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike on Freeman. The 1-1 swung on, and a line drive out towards center field. Center fielder Norman takes a couple of steps back and makes the catch for the 2nd out of the inning. So after Cronin allowed the leadoff home run to Grammis, he's retired the following 2 batters relatively quickly.
Another one of those hard hit balls out to the outfield, but it's right out of fielder. Not going to do much damage.
And Gage Workman, who's been on base twice tonight, he had a triple back in the 1st inning and singled in the 5th. Or the 6th, I beg your pardon. First pitch in there for a strike on Workman, and the count 0-1. Base paths empty, 2 outs. The 0-1 pitch misses off the outside corner, and the count 2 balls and 1 strike. The 1-1 delivery swung on, and a high fly ball out towards right field, but it's right at the right fielder, Gabe Rivera, who makes the catch for the final out of the inning. So that'll do it for us in the bottom of the 7th inning, but not before the Brewster Whitecaps score 1 run on a solo home run from Connor Graham. As we head to the top of the 8th, it's 11-8 Brewster. Welcome back in the top half of the 8th inning. It is 11-8 Brewster. As it is the 9-hitter, Brian Dempsey, who steps in. First pitch swung on and fouled off behind home plate. Count 0-1. And Connor Graham has allowed 1 run in the top of the 7th, and he came back with a home run in the bottom of the 7th to give the Whitecaps an 11-8 lead. The 0-1 pitch swung on and a slow ground ball back to the pitcher. Graham fields an underhand toss to first, and there's 1 away.
And those 8-9 guys in Garza and Dempsey so far, the Mariners have been hard to keep off base, and it's only the second time that Dempsey has been retired. He come in was 1 for 2 with a hit by pitch.
And Ben Norman digs in from the left side. Norman's 5th time at the plate tonight. In the top of the 8th with 1 out. As the Harwich Mariners look to get themselves back into this game, they're down by 3 runs. As the first pitch is swung on and missed, and the count 0-1. Gramis comes set, the 0-1 pitch. Swung on and fouled off to the screen behind home plate, and the count 0-2 on Ben Norman. Norman is 1 for 4 in tonight's contest. Had an RBI single his last time up. Every player in the Mariners lineup has been on base at least once as the 0-2 pitch is swung on and dribbled foul over towards the Brewster Whitecaps dugout. Driscoll was on base. He came on base after Debo came out of the game, so he didn't actually really reach with anything. He just found himself on base as a pinch runner. But he came around and scored, and then Rivera walked, so he was also on base. As the 0-2 pitch to Ben Norman is swung on and missed, and they're 2 away in the top of the 8th.
After Graham has had some control problems, he seems to have fixed those here in his 2nd inning of work. The first 2 guys he faces are retired.
And now Danny Casal steps in from the right side. First pitch misses below the knees for ball 1. Casal's the 2nd hitter in the Mariners' order. As the 1-0 pitch This is outside, and the count 2 balls and no strikes, and the control has been significantly better for Connor Grammis in this second inning of work. In his first inning, he had 4 or 5 pitches that got to the backstop. And in the second inning of work, he's had nothing even close to that. As the 2-0 delivery to Casals is swung on, and a line drive into center field for a base hit. So the Mariners have a runner aboard in the top of the 8th.
It's a big base hit there by Casals to break the streak of about 4 retired in a row from Connor Grammis and just get a base runner on. Anything can happen, and even though there's 2 outs, don't worry about that. Just keep trying to plug away.
And especially with the Mariners lineup the way it's working right now, in which it doesn't really matter which part of the lineup is at the plate, because the bottom of the lineup is just as good as the middle of the order, as the first pitch misses low and in the dirt, and the count 1-0.
If the Mariners keep getting a couple more base hits, they'll surpass the Whitecaps in the hit column as well. Now, that can translate to runs if they can collect them together.
Grammis gets a sign from his catcher, Donovan. The 1-0 pitch. In there for strike 1, and the count even at 1 ball and 1 strike. Coming into tonight's game, Donovan had allowed 7 hits and 7 walks in 6 1/3 innings of work. Tonight, he's pitched 1 2/3, allowed 1 hit and 1 walk. Lipsius digs back in from the right side. 11-8 Brewster as Danny Casals leads off first base. The 1-1 pitch. This is low in the count, 2 balls and 1 strike. Grammis comes set. The 2-1 pitch. Swung on, a line drive over towards right field. It's a base hit. Casals will hold up over at second base. So there's runners on first and second with 2 outs. Nate Eichhoff comes to the plate. He represents the tying run.
A nice base knock there from Andre Lipsius. That's what happens when you can get ahead in a count and able to just go with the pitch in on the hands and just muscle it out towards right field. A nice line drive in front of the speedy right fielder Alejo. And now puts the Mariner in scoring position over at second base, and Danny Casals and Nate Eichhoff, if you think he can find something in the gap, can maybe score 2 runs.
There's a meeting at the mound for the Brewster Whitecaps. There isn't any action in their bullpen right now, so it looks like this is Grammis' inning. Runners on first and second with 2 outs. In the top of the 8th inning, the Mariners have a tying run at the plate. The Mariners were down 8-0 after the bottom of the first inning. They came back, scored 3 runs in the 4th, and made it 8-3, but Brewster responded with 2 of their own to make it 10-3. But it was in the top of the 6th where the Mariners made their biggest comeback, plating 4 runs and cutting the lead to 10-8 or 10-7. In the top of the 7th, they scored another, made it 10-8. And Brewster responded with a run of their own to make it 11-8 as the first pitch misses inside on Nate Eichhoff, count 1-0.
Big at-bat here for Eichhoff. You mentioned before, tying run at the plate, and this would be a heck of a comeback. The Mariners can get it.
The 1-0 pitch swung on, a high pop-up into shallow left field. Canzone moves in and makes the catch for the final out of the inning. The Mariners strand 2 in the top of the 8th. And at the end of 7 1/2, it is the Mariners 8 and the Whitecaps 11. You're listening to Mariners Baseball on the Harwich Mariners Radio Network. Mariners Baseball is brought to you in part by Chatham Bars Inn, a proud member of leading hotels of the world. Cape Cod Healthcare, quality hospitals, superior care. And Curry College. For more information, visit www.curry.edu. harwich.edu. Bottom of the 8th inning from Stony Brook Field, 11-8 Brewster. As the 8-hitter Cameron Eden digs in. The first pitch. Fastball misses upstairs, and the count 1 ball and no strikes from the new pitcher Caleb Freeman. And we know Freeman as a hard-throwing right-handed pitcher who sports the mustache and the mullet. And he's been very, very effective for the Harwich Mariners this season as the 1-0 pitch is swung on and missed by Eden. And the count 1-1.
Definitely one of the cooler type of looks on the Cape League. Don't get to see a lot of guys with the mullet anymore. A lot of people think of John Daly, the golfer. Also, he's known for other reasons besides his golf game.
The 1-1 pitch. Swung on and fouled back to the screen behind home plate in the count 1-2.
Freeman so far this year has worked with 17 and 2/3 innings pitch, owns a 3.57 ERA, including 11 punch-outs.
You know, it's not really fair to credit all those, the higher ERA to him. It really all happened in one inning versus the Wareham Gateman, where he allowed 4 innings, and it was the night after he'd already thrown 2 innings of work, and the 1-2 pitches swung on and fouled back to the backstop, count 1-2. So it wasn't quite, you know, a fair appearance for him as he had come in after allowing a couple of runs, and he had to get the job done yet again, but he was unable to do so. As the 1-2 pitch to Eden, breaking ball swung on and missed. Outstanding curveball from Caleb Freeman as he gets Eden swinging, and there's one away in the bottom of the 8th.
Curveball had some good action on that one as Eden just swung right over it. Pitch dipped right before it got towards the home plate, and Eden just couldn't quite connect the barrel to the ball.
And when people oftentimes mention good stuff, I mean, what you just saw from Caleb Freeman there was virtually the definition of good stuff. It was outstanding as he got great action on that curveball as the first pitch is swung on and missed from the 9-hitter Joe Donovan. He's got a lot of velocity on the fastball. He's got a curveball that's outstanding. He doesn't throw it all that frequently. He only mixes it in maybe once out of every 10 pitches or so because he relies so heavily on the fastball, and it's 94, 95, 96, and even higher as the 0-1 pitch misses low in the count 1-1. And if he can get you looking for that fastball consistently and he throws you the curveball, you're all of a sudden completely locked up.
It's all about changing speeds and hitting your spots on a hitter. You He's done so far.
1-1 pitch from Freeman is swung on, a high pop up behind home plate, and it's going to get out of play, count 1-2. So the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes on Joe Donovan. Bottom of the 8th inning, an 11-8 Brewster lead. As there's some drama going on behind us regarding a foul ball, as a bunch of kids, a dog, a lot of people involved in trying to get this ball. As the 1-2 pitch swung on and missed, and it's going to get by the catcher Driscoll. Advancing over to first base is Donovan. So it's the second strikeout of the inning, but it's going to be a runner on first base with 1 out. And
we've seen this a couple times this year where the pitcher's able to strike out a hitter, but advancing over towards first base on a ball that gets behind the catcher.
We have an opportunity. It's not necessarily the most likely thing that could happen, but there's an opportunity. We could see something very special happen here. As there's already been 2 strikeouts and 1 out, there is a chance for the 4th strikeout inning. And that has only happened 80 times in Major League Baseball. It's more rare than a no-hitter or anything like that. Again, Freeman would have to strike out the next 2 hitters, but it's a possibility as the first pitch is in there for strike 1. Jake Agnos accomplished the feat last season. I know Craig Kimbrell did it last year in 2017.
It isn't very easy to do either.
The 0-1 pitch. Swung on, a line drive down the third base line for a base hit. And holding everybody up is the left fielder Stanton, who hustled over to that ball. And as a result, the 9-hitter Donovan, who was on first base, was only able to advance to second. So now runners on first and second with 1 out.
Yeah, especially with that ball ended up down on that left field line. It's basically a direct throw in from the left fielder. Don't want to risk anything right now.
As Ray Alejo is the 2nd hitter in the Whitecaps order.
Especially with the heart of the order coming up. Trying to let them do the damage and not run into any outs on the base paths.
Everybody in the Whitecaps order has reached base. All but 1 have had hits. The only one who does not is Hunter Bishop. Now everybody reached base in that 1st inning. As the first pitch swung on and missed, and that fastball is untouchable for a lot of players up here on Cape Cod. It's got the outstanding spin rate, which makes it very difficult for hitters to catch up with it, especially when it's up in the zone, as it almost looks like it continues to rise. Even though technically and scientifically it cannot actually rise. It almost looks like it does. As the 0-1 pitch swung on and fouled off to the screen right overhead, and the count 0-2. Runners on first and second, 1 out. 11-8 Brewster in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Let's see what Freeman goes to here to try to overpower Alejo with a fastball and go the off speed down in the zone.
Would not be stunned to see a fastball. If he can't get him, then maybe off speed. As the 0-2 pitch misses in the dirt, and it's going to get by Logan Driscoll, advancing to second and third base. Are the 9-hitter Donovan and the leadoff man Canzone.
That's big as well because there's only 1 out in the inning. It takes away the double play, and now 2 Whitecaps standing in scoring position as well. So a base hit can drive in 2 more and add to their Whitecaps lead here.
Yeah, Logan Driscoll's been having a little bit of trouble with some pitches from Caleb Freeman. At first it was the strikeout that got by Logan Driscoll, and then it's a wild pitch that Driscoll had trouble getting in front of and blocking. 1-2 delivery. Swung on, a high pop-up foul down the first base side, and the count remains 1-2. If there's anybody that you wouldn't mind having runner on second and third, you'd think it would be Caleb Freeman, though, because he has such good stuff. He can work strikeouts, and you're not quite as concerned about a long flyout from someone like Freeman.
His curveball as well as to the right-handed hitter. It's going to move away from the hitter. That's why it's sometimes tougher to block as a catcher. The spin will kick it even just a little bit more when it hits the dirt away from you.
The infield is in for the Harwich Mariners. Everybody has their feet on the grass. The 1-2 pitch. Swung on and missed. Struck him out. Alejo goes down swinging, and there are 2 away in the bottom of the 8th inning. That is strikeout number 3 from Caleb Freeman.
That's a big-time strikeout for Freeman as it now allows the field to move back with 2 outs, and now just 1 out away from getting out of this jam here in the 8th inning.
Hunter Bishop digs in. Runners on second and third, 2 outs. The first pitch from Freeman. Fastball on the outside corner for strike 1. And the 0-1 pitch is cut on, a line drive down the right field line, foul.
That was a well-hit ball from Bishop, just a little bit early on that one, swinging the hips through the zone.
There are a couple pitchers who were able to accomplish the 4 strikeout inning in the MLB this season. Zach Duke, Ryan Dill, and Miguel Diaz. As the 0-2 pitch. This is low and in the dirt, nicely blocked by the catcher Driscoll. Runners on second and third, 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th inning. 11-8 Brewster as Caleb Freeman is back on the mound. Bishop digs back in from the left side. The 1-2 pitch, swung on and missed. Caleb Freeman with a 4 strikeout inning in the bottom of the 8th inning for back-to-back innings, back-to-back years. The Mariners have a pitcher who accomplishes the rare feat of a 4 strikeout inning. So after 8 innings of play, it's 11-8 Brewster. You're listening to Mariners baseball on the Harwich Mariners Radio Network. Top of the 9th inning from Stony Brook Field, 11-8 Brewster, as Logan Driscoll will start things off for the Harwich Mariners. Austin Rooney alongside Thomas Zinzarella as the first pitch misses below the knees for ball 1. We're glad to have you with us for this evening's contest. Tonight, Logan Driscoll does not yet have a hit as he's 0 for 2. And the 1-0 pitch misses low in the count, 2 balls and no strikes. He did come around and score a run as he was a pinch runner for Brad Debo after Brad Debo exited the game. It's the 5, 6, and 7 hitters, Driscoll, Rivera, and Stanton, who will come to the plate in the top of the 9th. The 2-0 pitch. Swung on a high fly ball out towards deep right center field. Going back to the track and making the catch on the run is Hunter Bishop. That ball was hit a very long way off the bat of Logan Driscoll, and at some ballparks around the Cape, that's a home run. But here at Stony Brook Field, it just barely stays within the boundaries, as it is a fly out to the warning track off the bat of Logan Driscoll. There's one away in the top of the ninth. Mariners trail by 3, looking to get back into this game.
Yeah, I just would have thought the wind continues to blow out there. Just wonder if that one had a chance, and it just goes right to the warning track, and Bishop took an interesting path on that one.
And the first pitch misses upstairs for ball 1. And Gramis fell behind in the count to Logan Driscoll, as it was a 2-0 count, and Driscoll swung, and the 1-0 pitch now to Rivera is cut on and missed, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike.
Well, Hunter Bishop, been tracking that ball down. He ran straight back and then ran to his right. It's almost like, I don't know if the ball moved on him or what, but took an interesting path for sure.
The 1-1 delivery. This is just outside, but the catcher Donovan doesn't squeeze it, so it goes to the backstop, and the count 2-1. Base path's empty, 1 out. Harwich Mariners trail by 3 runs in the top of the 9th inning. They put up a comeback as the 2-1 pitch runs outside, count 3-1. Mariners scored 3 runs in the top of the 4th, added 4 more runs in the 6th. That cut the Whitecaps' lead to 10-7. The Mariners cut it all the way down to 10-8 in the top of the 7th inning, but Brewster responded with a home run from the current pitcher, Connor Gramis, and that put Brewster back up 11-8. And the 3-1 pitch misses low for ball 4, and the Mariners have a runner on first base with 1 out.
And this is the part of the order that has really done some damage to the Whitecaps today. We mentioned it earlier. With Stanton coming up now, you got Garza and Dempsey on deck, 2 guys that have driven in majority of the runs today.
Yeah, the 7, 8, and 9 hitters combined for 5 for 10 tonight. Stanton 2 for 3, Garza 2 for 4, Dempsey 1 for 3. So another opportunity for the bottom of the order to step up in a big way. The first pitch swung on, and a line drive down the first base line, foul. Looked pretty close. If it was going to go and be a fair ball there, it probably would be runners on second and third with 1 out. It is important to remember, as I always remind everybody, that in the top of the 9th inning, the runners that matter is only the tying run and the go-ahead run. Every runner before that, the last thing you want to do is have them run into an out, because their run is only 1 run closer. As tossing over to first base is Gramis. It's not imperative that the runner is on third base as opposed to second base, or scores as opposed to on third base. You want to be as conservative as you can with those runners prior to the tying run and the go-ahead run. The 0-1 pitch misses low, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike. So I would be very, very surprised if the Mariners tried to move Gabe Rivera and put him in scoring position, because, again, his run just makes the Mariners 1 run closer. So I would not expect any steals or anything in this situation. The 1-1 pitch misses low. Diving back into first safely is Gabe Rivera on a snap throw from Donovan, and the count 2-1.
Well, especially with 2 more dangerous hitters today coming up. I mean, it'll be foolhardy to try to steal a base over towards that second.
Yeah, if I'm Gabe Rivera at the situation, you probably wanted to stay close to first base. You can tell that Gramis and Donovan are worried about you over there at first base. They don't want you stealing, so they're throwing over pretty frequently. There's no need for him to have a huge lead. Again, if it's a single, he's perfectly fine at second base. The 2-1 pitch on the inside corner, and the count 2-2 to Johnny Stanton. Stanton steps back in. Runner on first base, 1 out. The 2-2 pitch from Gramis swung on and fouled off behind home plate. Count remains 2-2.
Stan's fouled off a couple pitches now. He seems to be starting to catch maybe the tempo and how Gramis is working from the mound. Throwing a couple pitches up. Might want to try to change the eye level here.
They call time as Gramis wants a new baseball. And he will receive it from the home plate umpire, John Patolo. Count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Runner on first base, 1 out. The pitch swung on. It's chopped foul off of his foot, and the count remains 2-2.
Again, Stanton continues to battle here. It'll be pitch number 7 coming up in this AB, and it's a very important AB as well. Playing over at third base. Eden's playing very well far off the line down there.
Gramis comes set. Runner on first base, 1 out. 11-8 Bruce from the top of the ninth. The 2-2 pitch swung on and chopped foul off the catcher. And the count remains 2-2 as Johnny Stanton continues to work a deep count versus Connor Gramis.
Yeah, that one might have hurt. That one came right under the mask of Donovan, and that's why, you know, the younger levels, they have those throat yards.
Some of those masks extend down a little bit closer towards the throat.
You see a lot of guys, you know, towards the upper levels, that's a hockey-style type of mask, and what Donovan has, you see more of what Debo and Driscoll have, just the toss-away ones with the kind of like the base coach kind of helmet.
The 8th pitch of the at-bat in the dirt, and the count runs full at 3-2. And now the Mariners, you know, if Johnny Stanton can work a walk, then the man on deck, who's Ramon Garza, would represent the tying run. The 3-2 pitch swung on and a high fly ball foul down the right field side, out of play, and the count remains full at 3-2. This bat will reach double digits in total pitches. The 3-2 pitch swung on and missed. Stanton works a 10-pitch at bat, but ends up striking out as Connor Gramis finally gets him swinging. It was a pitch that was a little bit low and out of the zone, but it was a tough pitch to lay off of, and there are 2 outs in the top of the ninth.
Shortstop, Ramon Garza.
And Ramon Garza steps into the right-handed batter's box. Runner on first base, 2 outs. Top of the 9th inning, Mariners trail 11-8. The first pitch swung on and chopped foul on the third base side, out of play.
And as of right now, Garza represents the last hope for the Mariners. They need him to get on to bring up Brian Dempsey on deck.
The 0-1 delivery. Fastball on the outside corner, count 0-2. The 0-2 pitch misses outside, and the count 1-2 on Garza.
Yeah, Gramis has a couple pitches to work with here. Don't want to put really anything in the zone that Garza can do some damage. He's been probably the most dangerous hitter for the Mariners today.
Rivera leads off first base with 2 outs. Top of the 9th inning. The 1-2 pitch swung on and missed. Dropped third, strike by Donovan. Picks it up. He'll tag out Garza. That will do it. The Harwich Mariners fall to the Brewster Whitecaps 11-8. The Mariners mounted a comeback but it was ultimately not enough to come to tie the game versus the Brewster Whitecap. And they showed some fight, though, but one way or another, though, the Mariners have now lost 4 straight.
No, it's definitely a tough game, and it's tough to make a comeback, especially when you yield 8 runs in the first inning. 11 runs came in that first inning, and Mariners did a really good job to try to get the bats going. They ended up scoring 8 runs on 12 hits, so the bats came out today. It's just the rough start for the Mariners. They ended up giving the Whitecaps the win today.
So let's run back through it. It was the top of the first or bottom of the first inning when the Brewster Whitecaps did all their damage. It started off with a single from Canzone. Alejo struck out. There was a runner on first base with 1 out in the bottom of the first inning, and then the damage started. It was a walk from Hunter Bishop, a single from Connor Gramis, a single from Jesse Franklin, a single from Mike Freeman, a triple from Gage Workman, a single from Owen Eden, a single from Joe Donnelly, a single from Dominic Canzone, and it just was hit after hit after hit for the Brewster Whitecaps. They put up 8 runs in the bottom of the first.
Yeah, and I mentioned the offense before. I mean, they put 8 runs in the bottom of the first inning. They only had 14 hits on the night. If you wipe away that first inning, it's a whole different ball game, and the Mariners may have gone on to win this game if even they're able. And you talk about some of the hits too in that first inning. They weren't. A lot of them weren't hard hit. Towards the end of that half of that first inning, they were. But a couple of them there are just squeezing through the infield, up the middle, on the right side, on the left side. Fly balls that just reach down on the left field and right field line. I mean, there weren't a lot of hard hits, so maybe Gage Workman's triple, and he's in the 7th spot. That triple might have been the hardest hit ball for the first 7 guys.
That's right. I mean, there were really not that many hard hit balls, a number of bloopers, a number of infield singles. And, there were some opportunities. There were a couple. One time it was a ground ball towards first base. Eichhoff fielded it pretty deep. By the time he was able to toss over to Wood, it wasn't in time to get the runner at first base. And there were a couple of plays like that. Another infield single, a couple others that were just high pop-ups that split a few defenders. And it was an unfortunate start for the Harwich Mariners. But they battled back. In the top of the 4th inning, the Harwich Mariners put up 3 runs. It was a single from Eichhoff, a fielder's choice from Brad Devo. He ended up exiting the game after he was in pain as Logan Driscoll entered the game in his spot. A couple batters later, a single from John Stanton and a 3-run home run from Ramon Garza cut the Brewster lead to 8-3.
Yeah, I definitely have to think that's one of the bright spots today was that Garza and Dempsey, those 8-9 guys, really produced for the Mariners today. And that's probably the outlook you got to take away from today's game is that some of the newcomers really stepped up well. You talk about the pitching as well from Garrett Pearson making his first appearance here on the Cape. And he pitched pretty well through 3 1/3, 3 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned, 1 walk, and 1 punch out. Not a bad stat line for your first first appearance on the Cape.
I hate to interrupt the post-game show, but we just had quite an incident on the field as the players are exiting. We had a girl who's running down the first base line. Dog comes up from behind, very small dog, and runs her right over. Well, she looks like I think she's okay. I hope so for her sake. But moving on now to the bottom of the 4th inning. The Brewster Whitecaps fought back with 2 runs of their own. It was a single from Connor Gramis followed by a 2-run home run from Jesse Franklin. And at that point, it was a 10-3 Brewster lead. And it looked like things were going to get tougher from that point for the Harwich Mariners after the 2-run home run in the bottom of the 4th.
Yeah, no, that 4th inning, you would have thought that the Mariners would have gone away and the Whitecaps would just continue to hit. Well, you got to credit the pitching from the Mariners as well. Really able to keep it in. It was Cronin and towards the end of the back for Pearson. I mean, that was Pearson's only mistake pitch maybe of the afternoon.
And then we move on to the next inning where the Mariners produced some runs. That was the top of the 6th. The Mariners put up 4 runs, and they got a lot of hits in that inning. It was Gabe Rivera who first reached on an error, a single from John Stanton, and this is when the damage started. This is when the Mariners really started scoring runs. It's an RBI double from Ramon Garza that drove in 1 run, a 2 RBI double from Brian Dempsey, and then a single from Ben Norman, and things are looking really good at this point as the Harwich Mariners had at that point cut the lead to 10-7. And they find themselves with 3 innings still left to go, and they have an opportunity to come back in this game.
Yeah, no, they gave him a chance. I said earlier in the game, it's going to keep competing inning by inning. Try to win each inning, and that's what ended up happening towards the middle of the game. The 4th, they scored 3 runs, and they scored 4 in the 6th. That's really where the bulk of the runs came from. And it just wasn't quite enough in the end, but you got to credit, tip your caps to the Mariners for trying to get back into that game, and that all started with Garza and Dempsey, guys that drove in a couple runs, and an error by the Whitecaps also led to a run. So a couple things, start going towards the Mariners' way, and there's a couple good ABs from those 8-9 guys I mentioned before, and Garza and Dempsey.
And then in the top of the 7th inning, the Mariners scored their final run of the game as they cut it to 10-8. It was a hit-by pitch as Nate Eichhoff was hit in the foot. He reached first base then, and then it was 3 consecutive wild pitches from Connor Grammis that allowed the Mariners to plate that run, and it was then became 10-8, and Grammis ended up getting out of the inning. He came up to the plate in the next inning and launched a home run into left field. That gave the Brewster Whitecaps an 11-8 lead, and that lead held until the end of the game when the Brewster Whitecaps end up winning by a score of 11-8.
Yeah, no, Grammis, he struggled his first inning of work, but then really finished on a high note. You talk about the control. He finally was able to overcome that control after Eichhoff came around to score and a couple wild pitches. But he looked good towards the end of the game. The velocity was there the whole time. It's just the control, and the control was pretty good down the stretch.
Well, that'll do it from us here at Stony Brook Field as the Harwich Mariners fall by a score of 11-8. We'll join you again tomorrow night when the Harwich Mariners take on these same Brewster Whitecaps back at White House Field. Start time is at 6:30. So, from my broadcasting partner Thomas and Zarella, I'm Austin Rooney saying so long from Stony Brook Field as the Harwich Mariners lose by a score of 11-8 to the Whitecaps.